So this nurse has just been struck off from the Nursing and Midwifery Council register as at the 21st of May for doing the unthinkable. Yes, what he did would definitely shock you. Watch this video to find out. Hello everybody, it's your girl Ada. Thank you so much for being here. And to all my returning subscribers, I want to say big thumbs up to you all. Please hit the like button. And if you're just seeing my face for the first time, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I bring you information about happenings in the UK, job opportunities in the UK, and everything good. But then what we are talking about today is very, very sensitive, okay? We're talking about the case of a nurse who has just been struck off from the Nursing and Midwifery Council register for doing something completely absurd, okay? So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to refer to this nurse as Tony. Now, his name has already been made public knowledge. You can Google it and find out, but I just don't want to be calling the name here. So I'll be referring to him as Tony, and I'll be referring to the lady in question as Sarah. Okay, so now I am going to tell you a little background of the story and then what the Nursing and Midwifery Council has released findings. Okay, so Tony was an agency nurse. Now, listen to this story carefully, and at the end of this story, I will try to throw in my 2 cents to how this would have completely be prevented or be avoided. Okay, so Tony was an agency nurse, okay, who picked up an agency shift in this hospital, the Oldham Hospital, okay, Oldham Hospital. That's the name of the hospital where Tony picked up an agency shift. And now, why Tony has already made himself comfortable in the shift, probably was in the staff room and trying to get his dinner or his supper or whatever, because I think that was a night shift. A colleague or a regular staff, somebody in the unit, had made a comment towards Tony by saying that, oh, your food smells nice. Now, for Tony, that was a welcome invitation into Sarah's personal space. Okay, so Sarah had just told Tony, oh, your food smells nice. And then Tony saw that as an opening to start having what? Conversation. Now, normally, as every agency staff, maybe you're feeling lonely, you're feeling bored in the tea room because you don't know people around, and then anybody who says hello to you, you just want to begin to talk. Usually, I would always advise against that. So that was mistake number one. Tony was started exchanging pleasantries with Sarah. And then at some point, Tony asked Sarah, have you got any kids? So Sarah said, no, I do not have any kids yet, but I am pregnant. And I'm newly pregnant and I've only just started telling staff. Sarah was at the back of the room near the window. Tony had asked if he could kiss Sarah's stomach. Now, this is exactly word to word according to the report from the Nursing and Midwifery Council, which has been made public knowledge. Okay, so Tony asked Sarah if he could kiss her stomach, and then Sarah responded no. So when Sarah was beginning to get her stuff from the lockers, and Tony again had asked if he could kiss her stomach. This time, Sarah's tone was a bit more questioning and stern when she said no. And then she put her handbag over her shoulder and walked towards the door. As she was walking past the door, Tony grabbed her right hand and said, let me kiss your stomach. He pulled her towards him and kissed her lower stomach in between her lower abdomen and her groin area. Tony, agency worker. It also says here that Tony did not grab her arm aggressively enough to leave a mark or a bruising or whatever, and Sarah was in so much shock that she could not even say anything. So she simply walked off the area and went to report to the nurse in charge, after which the matter was, of course, escalated to the Nursing and Midwifery Council. Now, this matter actually happened in July 2022, and the matter has been lingering and lingering and lingering. And finally, as of 21st of May 2024, NMC has come to a conclusion, and at the end of the day, they have found Tony guilty of serious failure to adhere to professional and personal boundaries and a significant departure from the standards expected of a registered nurse. Sarah has said she has felt vulnerable and doesn't even want to go to work. She even had to take off like a stress leave because she's wondering like, oh, if she's in the locker, somebody can sneak up on her and all that. In Tony's defense, when he represented himself at the disciplinary hearing, he denied it all, okay? He claimed he would never have touched the woman as he was brought up not to talk or do any activities when eating and to wash his hands at the end of a meal. Okay. He also suggested that Sarah may have fabricated the whole allegation because she was jealous of the money he was making as an agency nurse. However, the panel concluded that Sarah's complaint was a credible witness and Tony's behavior was a serious failure to adhere to professional and personal boundaries and a significant departure from the standards expected of a registered nurse. So, as a matter of fact, the Northern American Council has hereby struck Tony off from being a nurse. Now, this is exactly how Tony has lost not just his job, he has also lost his pin, which I'm sure is the whole reason why he was here in UK in the first place. Now, a lot of things go through my mind when I was reading this story or when I came across this exact news. A whole lot went through my mind. As somebody who has done a good or a fair share of agency shift, I do have like some things to say about this. As an agency staff, stop trying to belong. Stop trying to belong wherever you find yourself. Stop trying to belong. Put it in your head that yes, I'm an agency staff. I'm going to be working with people who already have their circle, people who already know themselves, people who already hang out with each other for drinks and visit each other. I will be the odd one out. Tell that to yourself. So when you go to work, you're not actually looking for conversation. Any conversation that doesn't necessarily have to do with the patient or anything that has to do with the hospital should not actually concern you. You should learn to detach yourself from the regular staff and all their drama and whatever is going on. Do your job and do what? Go home. Okay? And now I've also made a video where I made it clear that somebody smiling at you in this UK or somebody telling you, hello, love, you're right, love, does not mean a welcome invitation into their personal space. It's just being polite. It's just being polite for polite sake. The person is just being polite for polite sake. It is not a welcome invitation to say, oh, we can now be friends. It's not a welcome invitation to say, oh, you can now come close to me. It's not a welcome invitation to say, you can now kiss my stomach. Even back home in Africa, you don't even go touching the stomach of a pregnant woman. No, you don't. Talk more in this place in UK where your personal boundary is very, very important. Why would you even think of going to kiss a pregnant woman's stomach? Now, this is according to the story, even if Tony has denied that this was just a false accusation. But what I will always say is you must have kept yourself in a position before you found yourself being accused of this. If Tony has detached himself, probably even if Sarah had complimented on the smell of his meal to say, oh, Tony, your food smells nice, a simple thank you will suffice. And you mind your business, the business that pays you, do your job and go home. This is why you should even want to start forming familiarity. You want to start knowing more about Sarah, asking if she has children, if she's pregnant, can you touch her stomach? Like what? What nonsense? What nonsense? We need to be careful. The fact that you're already an immigrant doing an agency shift has already placed you, I would like to say, at a disadvantage whenever a report is made against you. That's the truth. The fact that you're an immigrant doing an agency shift has already placed you at a disadvantage whenever a report is made against you. Because as you can see now from this exact instance, there were no witnesses. There were no witnesses, but still Sarah's word against Tony, and Sarah has the final say. So already know your place and know that, oh, if I'm to find myself in any kind of issue, I might not be able to defend myself. That should already make you keep yourself apart. Try not to dig yourself into issues that will end up being very catastrophic to your well-being. I have to just bring this out here as an eye-opener for a lot of us that are doing agency shift, a lot of people who are doing agency shift, even in your regular job. Please respect people's personal space. Respect people's personal boundaries. Don't go about hugging people uninvited. Somebody might see you today and smile so well with you, and then tomorrow you assume, oh, this person has become my friend, and you then feel, oh, I have the right to hug her from the back, or I have the right to maybe close her eyes and do peekaboo. You do not have the right. Learn to respect people's personal space and people's boundaries, because when these issues get raised to Northern American Council and they begin to read the whole allegation against you, you yourself will even be surprised and ask yourself, like, when exactly did all this happen? Okay, I'm very sure that when Tony went to work, he was not expecting this to be the end of his nursing career in the UK. But this is what it is. He might have been trying to be unnecessarily friendly or unnecessarily polite in his own way, and he has landed in such what trouble. Let us do what? Learn from Tony. Let us learn from Tony. Well, this is just an eye opener for anybody working in the healthcare. It doesn't have to necessarily be a nurse. It can be a nurse, it can be a carer, it can be a doctor. It can, so far you're working, anywhere you're working, not just in the healthcare system. Learn to respect people's personal space so that you don't find yourself in such situation where you cannot be able to defend yourself. You better learn this before you learn it the hard way. I do hope you really liked this video. Comment under and tell us if you think that this judgment was actually fair according to Northern American Council, or if you think, comment and share if you've had such experiences or you see somebody who has had such experiences. Please share those videos from Tony and avoid being in such situation. And until next time, I will see you in another one. Bye for now.